In the previous episode, we started building the Blue Line, Valare's first intercity railway line. Today we're heading back to work on the west side of Velare, and later on a new form of transport to service the city. The first idea I had for this area was to build a mall. I'm going to build it with Valare's white and purple color palette and a clean, modern and futuristic design. Here, I'm building a kind of centerpiece V statue to add to Velare City's branding for the mall. I'm building it once again using Create's copycat blocks to help get a more defined shape. I then added some trees to the forecourt area. These are cypress trees from the Biomes O Plenty mod. I then moved on to the mall building. I used white concrete for the main structure and blue terracotta and grey concrete for the accents. My previous buildings were very plain in design, which I guess works as they were mostly just apartment blocks, but for the mall I wanted each floor to have a unique shape to make the build more interesting. For the top floor, I separated it into two sides, with both sides having a sloped roof to somewhat form a V shape from a distance. I then built a small rooftop garden area in the middle of the top floor to add more green space to the mall. With the basic shape complete, I moved on to the interior, starting by adding functional escalators using the Minecraft Transit Railway mod. And now, for the mall's first attraction, I'm building a small underground ice skating rink. Moving back to the top floor of the mall, I decided to build a cinema on the south side. In hindsight, I could have made the mall larger so that there was more space to build larger attractions, but oh well, Velare will only be a small city in comparison to future cities in this series. So with that being said, there's only space for one screen room in the cinema. On the bright side, the sloped roof of the mall actually turned out to make the perfect shape for the screen room. Now I'm moving on to building the elevators for the mall. These functional elevators are another amazing addition to the Minecraft Transit Railway mod. On the north side of the top floor, I decided to build a large Starbucks. I used inspiration from Starbucks locations that I visited in person. I used various furniture mods to add tables and sofas to the build. All of these will be listed in the description. I I then added a Starbucks logo to the exterior of the building using the Slideshow mod. The Slideshow mod is great for adding custom images to Minecraft. You can simply copy the link of any image from the internet and paste it into the Slideshow interface inside Minecraft by right-clicking on the projector block. You can also add your own custom images by uploading your image to Discord and copying the link there. That's how I do it anyway. If you'd like to add custom images using the same method I use, feel free to join my Discord server and upload your images to the Slideshow channel. Here's where I decided that Velare needed at least one surface level roadway to service supplies for the mall. I built a single lane two-way road leading to the mall, which will later be connected to Velare's underground roadway system. For the road lines and road slope layers, I used the Traffic Craft mod. I then moved on to laying out a small car park and one-way system for trucks to drive through in the future. And as per usual, I surrounded the areas I just built with vegetation. I'm using pine and redwood trees once again from the Biomes O Plenty mod. If you hadn't noticed, I also replaced the default flowers that are placed with bone meal for wildflowers, cornflowers, and azure bluets. I've been doing this since I started building Velare as I think it suits better. I decided, as I didn't have any ideas yet for what shops to build in the mall, that I'd move on to another project. Velare currently only has one hotel, and as this area on the ridge is quite narrow and a bit too small to build skyscrapers on, I decided to build a small resort with wooden lodges. Starting on the north side of the resort, I'm building the first set of lodges. These will have a single bedroom in each lodge. I'm using smoked wood from the Create Dreams and Desires mod for the pillars and flooring, roof blocks from LYIVX's furniture mod, and dark oak for the walls. With the first set of lodges complete, I moved on to the larger ones. These lodges will have 2 floors and 2 bedrooms, this time with a kitchen area on the first floor and a larger living room on the second floor. I'm using the same wood blocks to keep consistent with the resort's design. And now for the final building of the resort, I'm creating a small check-in building for guests. At the back of the building, I decided to build a trail leading down to the lake below, where guests of the resort will be able to row boats around the lake. I also created a small viewpoint looking over the lake. After completing the resort, I went back to the roadway next to Velare Mall. I decided at this point that a bus route I'd been planning would finish its service here instead of the underground bus station that will be built later on in the episode at Velare Terminal. Here I'm resizing the roadway as I tested it off camera with the buses I'll be using, and they were clipping on each corner, so I made the one-way system slightly wider. I'm now going to test the one-way system along with the bus stop to see if the bus clips any of the surrounding blocks. Buses operate in the same way that trains do with the MTR mod, but you can just hide the rail textures using the brush tool. I started off by creating a test depot and adding the buses I wanted to use. These buses are from a resource pack I found on Modrinth. I've added the name of the pack to the description so you can use them yourself. I then added 2 test stations in the railway dashboard, one being the Velare Mall bus stop. But you need 2 stations in order for a route to work, hence why I added a temporary bus stop for the time being. As the bus was clipping on the edge of the stone pavement, I decided to create a painted walkway instead. I hid the platform blocks 1 block below the surface to ensure the doors would still open. I then made a small waiting room inside the mall. Now it's time to connect the roadway to Velare's underground road network. As I mentioned earlier on in the series, there will be a limited amount of roads on the surface of Velare City due to its elevated location, so the area I'm building now will service as a main car park for the city, as well as elevator connections to a post office, the hospital, and with the Velare Terminal railway station. I'm also building a bus stop here. Now that I'd built the bus stop next to Velare Terminal, I once again tested the route to ensure there were no issues. I realized that the buses were clipping on the tunnel walls, so I later went back and made the curved sections of the tunnels 7 blocks wide instead of 5. Heading out of the city to the main roadway, I decided to extend the road which will connect to a major motorway system in the future. I also made a start by terraforming the landscape where the first large motorway will be built. You'll have to sit back and wait for now as we'll be finishing Velare City and the Blue Line before making a start on the motorway networks. I then built the first curved viaduct section for the future Red Line. I did this now so that I could decide how to build the pillars for this curved section over the motorway. Not sure how realistic this structure design is, but I think it looks cool. Also, if you're wondering why the rails aren't visible, it's because Replay Mod will only show rails if they have been placed during the recording. It's annoying, but I don't have a choice since Replay Mod is the only recording software available for the version of Minecraft I'm using. You'll be able to see them again later on in the episode with the ending cinematics. Before moving on to the final build for this episode, I went back underground and started adding in some lighting along with making some adjustments to the structure and bus stop. Now for the post office I mentioned earlier, I'm building this in a similar style to the hospital, but with red accents similar to English post offices. I added a lay-by underground for postal trucks to stop, and built elevators directly up to the post office. To finish off for this episode, I went back to the hotel which I built in a previous episode and redesigned the outdoor area of the restaurant to make it more vibrant. I also went back to twin Velare residences and added some windows on the west side of the building to make it less plain. But unfortunately, that's all I had time for in this episode, so let's do a cinematic overview of what I've built so far. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. In the next episode, we'll move to the higher layers of Velare City and possibly get started on a cable car system. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment any thoughts you may have.